Guys, Ken Scott, Senior U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst with www.usentryWaiverServices.com. And we're still going to get you guys cleared to enter the USA. Today is May 26, 2025, and I haven't put out any content for maybe 2 weeks, mostly because we've been bombarded with work. Even with this border slowdown, we are still busy because for us, the thing is, we've got thousands of cases still in the queue. So based upon the amount in the queue and the fact that some people are still calling us, mind you, it's mostly the serious stuff. In our case, we are still busy. So, but I had to take some time away to let you guys know what's up here. And guys, honestly, I gotta tell you, the number one mistake, well, today's video is going to be about the number one mistake that Canadians make at the US border and how to avoid it. The number one mistake Canadians make at the US border and how to avoid it. You guys will never guess. What's the number one mistake? The number one mistake is that you guys have a very, very bad habit of having diarrhea of the mouth. Number one worst habit, diarrhea of the mouth. I'm not going to say I don't know why you guys do it, even though on one hand I don't, but on the other hand I do. But diarrhea of the mouth is the number one thing you guys do at the border. And you guys are your own worst enemy. And I have to say to you guys, because someone needs to tell you guys, sometimes you guys just talk too much at that US border. And what I'm told is that a lot of people think that because you're talking so much, it's going to help your situation. Uh, I cannot see the logic in that, but that's just me. The number one mistake, you guys have really too much time on your hands. So, having said that, let me give you some good example. I've got an example today. A gentleman rang us up, and the gentleman had some questions about. I want to change the names of this and some of the details, but a gentleman had a question about working in the USA, and he wasn't sure as to what he was going to do with considered work. So we explained the regulations to him, explained how it's set up, and then the light bulb clicked on in his head. I said, "Well, yeah, this is what the regulation states." Him and I went over it, and he said, "Oh, yeah, well, I guess I would be working." I say, "Well, this is right here in the manual. It's the book. What does the book say?" And he agreed he'd be working. So his thing was his employer wanted him to go down there and do the stuff. And it's all legal work. It's nothing like fishy or whatever. But the thing is, he had to have a visa for it, and he understands that now. He had to have a visa, and he can't get that kind of visa he needs right now for his situation. His employers are actually overseas, and they were going to come over here as well and go down to the U.S. and do the same type of work, and he's just going to join them. He was apprehensive, which he should have been. So now that won't happen. And, we explained to him about how the fact that the number one worst thing Canadians make is they talk too much. He totally got it. He's not Canadian, but he totally got it. But he lives here in Surrey, BC, probably not too far from where I do. So we're going to have a conference call with his employer tomorrow, and we'll see what we can do to fix this. Now, what I did was I offered to go down there to the USA myself because they cannot say anything to me. So I can work there tomorrow. I can work there in 10 minutes if I want. So I offered to go down there myself and do the work that they need, charge them a per hour fee. And I think they just might go for that. And that way it's going to help them and, give me something to do besides all these cases. These cases can be very draining. But I'm not going to give you guys any kind of advice on this topic. But what I'm going to tell you, the more you elaborate when you go down to that border, the more you voluntarily elaborate when you go down to that border, well, actually voluntarily or involuntarily, likely will be used against you. Now, if that gentleman didn't know any better and he went down there and started elaborating like what he and I discussed, he likely would have got a 5-year ban and a deportation. it would have really messed him up in many ways, which I won't go into. So I guess, just saved him thousands of dollars. So I myself, I'm going to go down there. And we also, and by the way, guys, we offer that to the public, to different agencies or whatever organizations, some of the work that's needed in USA because they don't have visas. We go down and do it ourselves. I can go down and do that. So because that way it's harder for some of these people to get these visas. So depending upon the situation, I myself would charge them a fee and just go down there and do the work myself and come back here because I don't need a visa to go down. So I mean, simple as that. So you guys, how can I say it? Another example. Maybe I shouldn't use that one. Okay, I'll change the details around for that one. Another person went down to the border, gave a sworn statement, and started talking about things that this person should not have been saying. And it wasn't about this person. This person was relaying info regarding a separate person. Now, that separate person could have trouble now in the USA because this person, I'll call this person Sally Sue, because Sally Sue relayed info that was not in the other person's best interest. That other person, let's call him Tony. Tony could have some issues at the U.S. border. In fact, he will have issues at the U.S. border. Now, when she elaborated on things, she was actually wrong about what she had said to the officers. She didn't make a false statement. She just did, basically, she didn't know what she was talking about, and she gave them a lot of wrong info. So now, when Tony goes down, he's going to have trouble with CBP because they're going to go by what she said. And mind you, we can get around that. We get make sure Tony's clear, doesn't need a waiver because what she said was all wrong. But this is what I mean. One thing about up here in Canada, a lot of people have a bad habit of getting in other people's business, asking nosy questions. And me, myself, I don't do that. I don't let people get into my business and I don't ask them their personal business. So my stuff is straight. I don't have diarrhea of the mouth, whether at the border or wherever in the world. My lips are sealed. But for me, I've known that since I was 8 years old. I mean, to me, it's no big thing. But because people up here have diarrhea of the mouth too many times and get into way too much of your business, and people up here share too much of their business, be it social media or in person, they don't understand that when you get down to that U.S. border and these officers find that info, depending upon the situation, that stuff is going to be used against you. When you have this diarrhea of the mouth. Oh, it looks very shiny. Much better. We have diarrhea of the mouth. So we had another person who went down to the border, and this person, I think this person had a lifetime clearance, if I remember correctly. This person had a lifetime clearance, and this person actually lost that clearance, which I think was not right, because the way they did this person was not right at all. So this one, against CBP for this one. But this person lost their lifetime clearance based upon some false info that another person had in their phone on this person. I mean, that to me, that wasn't right. And the way they examined this person answered 99.9% of the questions correctly. And apparently they were getting so upset at this person that they found a measly reason to revoke the lifetime clearance. I mean, it was ridiculous. And this person was actually a guest on the channel here. We actually did an interview with her. You guys have to sort through all the episodes and listen. But this person, yeah, it was an interview at the Burnaby office. So, different background. But the common thing here is you guys keep running off at the mouth at the border, or you guys have stuff in your phones that are used against you. Now, what's interesting is the people with the serious criminality, they know better. I don't only have to tell them. I mention this. They naturally know keep a tight lip, or they naturally know to not have anything in their phones that's going to bite them. Like the guys who used to like move white powder, who used to wash money, who used to be quote unquote debt collectors or enforcers, street enforcers used to be. All these guys used to do this stuff, but now they've left that industry. And once they've left it, those are the reasons why they come to see us because they're no longer in that stuff. They changed their lives around, they have legit careers. But those people who came from that background, they naturally know this stuff, what, not to have diarrhea of the mouth. It's like Just like asking someone who's let's say a butcher, someone who owns a butcher shop. You say to him, say, oh, hey, do you know how to cut meat and package it up? Of course he does. He's a butcher. Or a farmer, let's say a farmer. Um, a corn farmer, chili red corn farmer, farmer that grows chili red corn. You go up to a farmer that grows chili red corn and say, hey, do you know how to, now he grows corn and sells it. You say to him, say, hey, you know how to plant corn? You know, it's so stupid. It's laughable. Of course he knows. That's what he does. He plants corn. So it's the same token. Someone who used to wash money or used to be a collector or an enforcer naturally knows they have a tight lip. It's not rocket science. But the people who've never been a farmer, never raised chili corn or never been in the force or whatever, etc., those are the ones that have loose lips, and loose lips will sink ships. So what I can tell you guys, I won't bore you, is the way the U.S. immigration code is written, they go by whatever relevant convictions you have. Let's say if it's drug trafficking, or whatever you voluntarily admit to. So you voluntarily admit to something that's not in the file, not documented, not proven. You just sank your own ship. There's an individual who had been charged with PPT, charged with trafficking, but it was thrown up because the gentleman was innocent. The border saw that, and the border tried to get the gentleman to do a waiver. And I said to him, his brother called me and explained the situation. I said, well, he doesn't need a waiver. He's not convicted. He's innocent. I said, why would they make him do a waiver? So, gentleman came in. We looked at everything, and we just basically prepared the packet to show why he did not need a waiver, based upon a whole bunch of supplements. I won't bore you guys with. Nor will I give the discount waiver companies anything they can use to try to keep their lights on. And long story short, the government wrote back and said he did not need a waiver. That also happened to another individual. It was similar but different. And he wrote back on this individual, said he did not need a waiver. Now, the people who received these letters, they were shocked because their distant friends, quote unquote, was saying, "Oh, don't worry, you're going to need this, need that." It's kind of like they put a lot, try to jinx them. I said, "No, you don't need it." I said, "Why would you need it if you're not convicted? You're innocent. You didn't elaborate on anything. How can you elaborate on something that never happened or you have no knowledge of? You can't." So we had to document that properly. It's a way to document it. And people get the letters that says they don't need waivers. They're good for life. So they don't have to worry about this. They don't have to worry about paying that $1,100 government fee anymore. They're good for life. And I explain how these letters work, basically. So not to bore you, again, not to bore you guys. So if you get a letter that says you don't need a waiver because you were charged with drug trafficking, but it was dropped, the letter will cover that. But then you get out to the border and you got like a joint behind your ear, or in a jacket that says 420 on it, and you smell of weed, and the officer says, "What the hell is this?" He said, "Oh, sorry, man, I just smoked up last night." You just lost that lifetime clearance, and now you got the lifetime ban. Not because the old charge that was dropped, because you opened your mouth and said that you smoked last night, and also because you went down there with a jacket that says 420 on it, and you reeked of weed. I mean, come on, guys, what do you expect? A lot of it's common sense. But if you guys don't know what to do, or if you're unsure, give us a shout. 604-562-8140. And that's my direct number, so I can get you guys sorted out quite proper. We got another guy coming in here soon. And something similar but different. Well, yeah, similar to this situation happened to him. And I think we can probably get him cleared for life because he called today and went over his situation. I said, okay, were you charged? He said, yes. Were you convicted? No. Did you elaborate? And he declined to elaborate. That's okay. So I kind of already know how to approach his. So, and more than likely, he will be cleared for life. More than likely. Again, food for thought. Ken Scott, Senior U.S. Immigration Law Intelligence Analyst with www.usentry.waiverservices.com. And it's 888-908-3841 or 604-562-8140. And last thing, guys, enjoy your lives, travel, be you travel to U.S. or travel to Europe. Athais is coming out, the pre-clearance check. That's not until late 2026, but that's going to be a topic of another video. And guys, I mean, if you want to go to the U.S., still go there. Stop believing in the mainstream leftist media when they're saying how bad is the border. It's not as bad as they portray it. And I know that for a fact also because the fact that one of my good friends today told me he went down to the border to cross over. He was the only one in line, and it was daytime. He said no one and not that many people are crossing over. You guys can follow the politics if you want. It's your choice. But I will be damned if I'm gonna let politics influence my life. It's not happening. I'm gonna do what I enjoy, what benefits me, makes me happy in terms of like my social life. So I don't follow politics or listen to it. But anyway, guys, don't want to bore you. Have a great day. Remember, loose lips sink ships. And I'm out.